Twilight hunkered down and tried not to breathe too loud. Her throat hurt, her hooves hurt, her belly hurt. Every atom of her wanted to fall on her side and cry until they found her, or she died of exhaustion. Whichever came first, she did neither of those things. Instead, she pressed into the lee of the broken wall and tried to become one with the masonry. She had heard the slavering before the telltale drag slap of mismatching legs. How many did this one have? Maybe if it was just one, she could handle it. Those moved so slowly, even some pony like her could jump on a skull and come out as victorious. She crossed her eyes and listened intently. At least two distinctive hoof steps. One was squelchier than the other. Rotting flesh, maybe? The earth was dry and cracked from the lack of rain, so it wasn't mud. Was that the sound of a torso being dragged along behind it? Or just her pure imagination, hoping for something like a scared filly would actually fight without a scream interrupted her thoughts. Her eyes flew open, taking in the sudden immensity of putrid mouth and shiny black spittle in her vision. Twilight squealed and dived sideways, narrowing, avoiding the ghoul's jaws, trying to clamp on her neck. Her noose landed perilously close to the straggly, shredded guts as she cursed herself for concentrating so much on the thing outside that she had missed the one in her with there. Flash! The thing shrieked, spraying her with tar-like anger. Twilight scrambled to slide through its guts, tiny hoofs skidding in perfection. She ran. She heard it continue to shriek behind her, accompanied by a similar noise from the outside. More joined the ruckus, drawn by the cries. She was trapped. If she went outside, she would be caught. If she stayed in here, they would get in through the holes in the wall and useless, empty door frames. Tears streamed down her cheeks. She kept running into the next room, which turned out to be a kitchen. She fumbled her way into the counter. Hide, she thought vaguely. Get out of their reach. Standing amidst the pots and pans, she craned her neck to look out the broken window. Ghouls lurched across the street towards the house. She squeaked, backing off and nearly falling off the countertop. Hide, whispered a desperate part of her brain. Find somewhere to hide out of their reach until they forget you're even here. It would not have been the first time she had done that. Ghouls' rotting brains could not hold into more than a base of instincts, and if you could stay hidden and silent for long enough, they eventually wandered away. Ever since the cursed summer sun celebration that had started all this, Shining had drilled into her into importance of staying safe to stay alive. At first he insisted on it so he could put himself in danger instead of her. He had been the food forager, the shelter finder, and the one with the reassuring words that she was shivering at night. Now it was just her, frightened and tried her best to remember what he had taught her. She chambered into the cupboard above the countertop, shoving her little body in the back and pulling an old cloth shopping bag over for good measure. Then she waited, trying hard not to shake, not to cry, not to breathe too loud. She heard the ghoul that had nearly bitten her drag as its way into the kitchen and slithered across the floor. She heard another bump and stumble its way inside, growing pitiably. Flash! More draggy footsteps, more ghouls. She squeezed her eyes shut. Please don't find me. Please don't find me. Please don't find me. Please don't find me. Something sniffed at the countertop where she had stood like a dog tracking scent in the old world. The world before the meteor bisected its Celestia's radiance at the ceremony and crashed in the middle of Canterlot, spreading its evil dust to replace all magic in Equestria with its own dark reanimation power. Please don't find me. Please don't find me. Please don't. Hooves pawed awkwardly at the cupboard door. Flash! No, 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 no! The door opened to reveal a ghoul with its lower jaw missing, tongue dangling limply down his exposed neck it leaned in, slurring their horrible mantra of the cloth shopping bag that it was so real protection against anything. Flash! Get out of here, you varmint! And then it was gone. Noise splatters, crunches, and the ghouls stopped begging for flesh in the hail of splotchy, crunchy sounds that resolved into a perfect, uncanny silence. Twilight's breath caught in her throat. Was she dead? She had her spirit left out of her body, so she would not have to endure such feeling that went along with the noise of her own dismemberment. You okay in there, Sugar Cube? Asked a high-pitched, nasally voice. Ghouls could not say more than that one word. Carefully, Twilight inched her way to the lip of the cupboard and peered down. An orange earth pony stood in the midst of the sea of destruction. Her hind hooves were stained with gore from the crushed skulls around her. It was clear to Twilight what had happened. Through her mind whispered that it could not be so. The filly was wearing a raincoat, equally stained with black blood, and carried a backpack that apparently not had impeded her ability to knock the unlife from those terrible creatures. "Hi there," she said, smiling up at Twilight. "I saw you run in here, but by the time I got into place, you were already hiding. Smart move. By the way, if in doubt, wait them out." She nodded, and her words carried the certainty of Shining's survival advice. "You okay, Sugar Cube?" Twilight nodded. They didn't bite me." That relief washed across the filly's face momentarily, but with honest. Twilight wondered whether she had the comprehension about putting her down like the other ghouls if she had been bitten. "Mighty glad to hear that. You need a hoof down from there?" Twilight shook her head and inelegantly crawled down from her hiding place. She winced when her hoofs touched the ground, spreading the black pools. "You got somewhere you need to be?" the orange filly asked carefully. "Some pony to be there with?" Old grief rose in Twilight's gullet. She shook her head. "My parents were lost in the first wave. It used to be just me and my brother, but now it's just me." Again, the emotion that washed over the orange filly's face was momentarily so achingly heartfelt that Twilight had to look away. She wasn't ready to face pity yet. There was still a chance Shining was still out there somewhere, but just couldn't get back to her yet. "Right, I guess you better come with me then. My family and I hail from Ponyville, but a couple of us headed up here to look for survivors amongst you unicorn folks." She looked around at the bodies. "Didn't feel right us being safe on the farm while others ain't got a lick of protection. We're all kinds of fortified there, safest place left of all Equestria, I reckon." Twilight licked her lips. She had seen the corner of the loaf of bread poking from the filly's backpack. Her belly grumbled as she was suddenly aware of her protruding ribs and hollow cheeks. Is that? All right!" The orange filly reached into it and broke off a chunk. She gave it to Twilight, who instinctively, even now, went to hold it in her magic before remembering and offering a hoof instead. "You can eat this while we walk in that commotion. Might bring more of those pesky things, and we don't want to be here when they arrive. Come on." Twilight walked free-legged, holding the bread in her mouth with one foreleg as they hurried out of the house and along the abandoned street. She took tiny bites, the better to swallow without liquid, her insides sang with introduction of fresh food that wasn't freeze-dried, canned, or putrefied. After a few more carefully navigated streets, they paused for Twilight to catch her breath and finish her last mouthful. "Not far now," whispered the orange filly. "My pa set up camp on the outskirts, since the ghouls like more built-up areas. My grannies and big brother stayed home, on the account of the foal's coming soon, and I may need my brother to stand guard while Granny delivers it. You're the first survivor I've actually found in this awful city. But don't worry, we got plenty of room at the farm." Twilight had never been to the farm before. She had lived in Canterlot for a short life, Shining too. Maybe that's why she had stayed, clinging to the ridiculous familiarity in the world of so unfamiliar. "Shining can find me on the farm, can he?" The orange filly turned to face her. "Shoot, I ain't even introduced myself yet. I'm Applejack, by the way." To Twilight Sparkle. "Don't worry, Twilight Sparkle. You'll be safe with the Apple family. We'll look after you from now on."
What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video. And I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Ms. Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, stay pretty.